an outburst of violence and calls for greater autonomy is sparking concern in Delhi. Ladakh in the Himalayas is controlled by the central government, but many there are calling for more autonomy and statehood. A demonstration to that end last month ended with police fatally shooting several protesters. DW's Adil Bhat went to Leh, the capital of Ladakh region, to report.
Thinless Dorje is free after 9 days in prison. He was arrested during last month's protests calling for more autonomy for the Ladakh region. He and other protesters report to the local court as part of their bail conditions.
For the last 4 or 5 years, no one was listening to our demands. The talks with the central government were being repeatedly delayed. People were very angry. These protests were bound to happen, and unfortunately, that anger erupted in the 24th of September protests.
Dorje was part of the peaceful protests, but says accusations he later was part of the violence are wrong. Some protesters threw rocks at police, who opened fire at the crowds, killing at least 4 people and injuring dozens more. They arrested more than 50 people. Those accused of violence include local former army personnel. Usually hailed as heroes of the national state, they are now accused of colluding with foreign elements against India.
This is the most painful and worrisome thing. We, the people of Ladakh, are very patriotic. We are always ready to give our lives for India. We don't even think twice before extending our support.
But friction between people in Ladakh and the central government has been building for years. After the region was separated from Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, it came under central rule from Delhi. Promises that this would lead to greater autonomy or in statehood have not materialized, prompting calls for local control over land, jobs, and natural resources. This is the Leh Apex body, the main group campaigning for Ladakh's autonomy. Members here say the arrest last month deepened mistrust.
If the government wants to improve the situation, if they want to bring back normality, then people should stop being arrested, intimidated, and threatened. We strongly condemn this approach by authorities. This is wrong. They think that by silencing us, they will suppress our movement, but the movement will not be suppressed with such tactics. It will only become stronger.
When filming in Ladakh's capital, Leh, we found many people who said they feared retribution if they spoke on camera. And when we asked senior local police officials to talk to us, they declined to comment.
I just want to take one point from you.
I'm not entitled for it.
The representative of India's ruling BJP in Ladakh told us the central government has set up a judicial inquiry into last month's violence.
Yes, there was a frustration for sure, but such violence, such anger, we never anticipated. Everybody should take the responsibility. Somehow, everybody has done a mistake. You know, whether it is willfully or, not willfully.
Whoever made a mistake, the violence it triggered was rooted in a deep tension between demands for local autonomy and the central government's determination to maintain tight control. After his appointment in court, Thinless Dorje returns home to his family.
All our demands are for the future generation, to secure the future of my children and the generations that come after. This struggle will continue.
He knows his personal legal fight ahead will be long, and the campaign for more local autonomy will likely be even longer.
The recent unrest and violence is causing concern, and not just in the tourism industry. Ladakh borders on China and Pakistan, making the region politically and strategically important. People here often play a crucial role in the surveillance of this disputed region. Their anger at the government in Delhi, many experts say, could weaken India's position on a sensitive and important frontier.
And for more on this, I'm joined by Radha Kumar. She's an Indian scholar and peace negotiator specializing in ethnic conflict resolution. She's also the former chair of the United Nations University Council. Welcome to DW. Perhaps begin by just helping us understand why protesters in Ladakh are demanding more autonomy or even statehood. Why are they so opposed to central rule?
Well, it took Ladakh a long time to get its own elected representation through the hill councils. There are two, one in Leh district and one in Kargil district. And as we all know, it's a fundamental principle that the greater the degree of local self-government, the more stable a region is. So the hill councils were working, but still there was a certain concern in Ladakh because it's a very large territory. And they felt that greater self-rule would be better for them. And now they welcomed actually the creation of the Union Territory in 2019. However, the experience since then has been that more and more administrative powers are being taken by the Lieutenant Governor's office away from the hill councils. So that access that people had to public representatives, elected representatives, the accountability that they could get, that has gone. The governor's office is not accessible in the same way.
So given that, were the violent protests a predictable result of that?
I think that, as we know, resentment has been mounting now for at least 2 years in Ladakh. And there have been, I think, 9 rounds of talks with the Union Home Ministry on 2 of their demands. One in particular was inclusion under the 6th schedule of the Constitution of India, which provides autonomy for tribal areas. And Ladakh, of course, is a majority tribal area. However, that 6th schedule has never been applied to Ladakh. And they were seeking that application.
Right.
And I think that frustration at the fact that 9 rounds of talks did not result in any gains led to what was a nonviolent protest, a hunger strike, and then public marches. You know, the hunger strike was led by the environmentalist Sonam Wangchuk.
Radha, many in India view these demands for more autonomy and even statehood through the lens of nationalism or separatism. Is that the right way to understand what is happening, in your opinion?
No, I think that is, those people obviously have not read the Constitution of India. India was constituted as a union of states. Federalism is part of the basic structure of the Constitution of India as stated by the Supreme Court of India itself. And within that, there has always been an emphasis on granting the greatest degrees of representation and local administration as possible. We have a 4-tiered structure of devolution from municipalities up to legislative assemblies. And that structure remains.
Right. One of the things
all this anti-national is absurd. The Ladakhis have been the frontline defenders of India against both China and Pakistan.
Yeah, sorry
Every
for the
intelligence that has come on incursions has come from the Ladakhis.
Well, sorry I keep interrupting you, Radha, because I also want to get to this component, and that is that the protests in Ladakh have a really strong youth involvement, and it's much like the recent Gen Z movements that we're seeing across South Asia. Do you see any parallels there?
Well, I think to call parallels might be a little exaggerated. There is one similarity, which is youth unemployment is very, very high. In Ladakh, it has been reported that in the previous year, it had mounted to 26.8%. youth unemployment, from 9.8% the year before. So there was a huge jump.
And just to the point you were making
And that is something common.
earlier,
That's
Radha,
common across South Asia.
right. So what then should the government in New Delhi do right now to rebuild trust with those communities in Ladakh who you've said were frontline defenders of India?
I think that the first thing is to release the people who have been taken into custody. No one denies that there was an act of arson. The BJP office was burnt. And this was the most unusual, shocking for Ladakh. They are non-violent people. We have not seen a violent moment like this. But bear in mind that this is not a huge violence. It is restricted. It is the destruction of a piece of property. And if you can find who did it, probably a small breakaway group, then certainly charge them and, arrest them and charge them. But this indiscriminate arrests that have happened, here you need to release people. You have arrested people who are not even part of that demonstration. So that's one. The second is that it's very important to resume talks immediately. And to work on granting the sixth schedule and greater self-rule powers to Ladakh. And then the results of the judicial inquiry. Now, it's not clear whether it's a magisterial inquiry, which is lower level, or a judicial inquiry, which is mandated by the court. But whichever inquiry it is, we hope it is an objective and fair inquiry, because it does seem to me that the response has been somewhat disproportionate.
Well, we appreciate that. Radha Kumar in New Delhi for us. Thank you so much for weighing in and giving us those insights into that region and that part of India.
Thank you.